All right. Hello, hello. This is Coach McCarthy. We talked about developing the personal budget in 7.1. We talked about that 50/30/20, making sure that you cover your needs, having a little bit for your wants, and trying to put some away in savings. All right. The main thing with the budget is just knowing where your money's going. All right. And that's the good thing about the budget. It can help you understand where your money's going. We talked about that there's needs you're going to have to pay for and wants to get the things that you want, your new stuff. So as we go through, we're going to get a lot of things that we're going to have to maintain our financial records as we're going. So let's click on our link here. So maintain financial records. So as we good bookkeeping, okay, how to keep financial records. So if you're running a business, you're going to be taking the right bookkeeping system for your business. There's a couple different ways. We're not really talking about business financing right now. That's some other classes that we talk about that in. I don't think you care about Oculus. So have a schedule. Try and do things on a regular basis so you don't forget what you're doing or forget that you did something or think you did something. Make sure you're getting the right advice when you're doing it. Reconcile your bank statements, which we've talked about a little bit, or we will. Keep an eye on your invoices, things that are coming in. Training, use that in your accounts to understand your business. So again, these are more business. So you're going to have invoices where we're buying things or selling things and a lot more bank statements. So let's come back to our document here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, when we talk about maintaining your financial records, and let's see the IRS here on letter A. So, why should you keep records? It's to monitor the progress of your business, see how you're doing, identify sources of your income, keep track of your deductibles, all those kind of things. And this is a little bit more running a business because we talk about an income statement and a balance sheet, which we've talked about before. So this is more for small businesses is what we're talking about, but it's just keeping track of things, okay? Knowing where everything's at, getting your tax returns ready, keep track of your deductible expenses, identify your income, all those things that a business is going to have to do on a day in, day out basis is you have to track all that money where it's going. From a personal standpoint, when we talk about our financial records, the main one is going to be our bank statement. And we've talked about there's some apps out there where you can look at your banks. I personally have Mint on my phone, and I use that so I can keep track of my bank. I don't have just a whole lot of movement going on, so I look at those records. I look and see what my assets are, where I'm getting paid, if I have money coming into my accounts, and then also my debts, or if I have money going out. What's this Kroger bill here for $34? Do I know what this is? Do I need to figure this out? Do I need to call and talk about this? And then we'll talk about that here in a second when we talk about debating our records. But you have to know where those bank statements are, and you got to be able to look at them. And it's something you should do on a regular basis. Don't just assume everything is okay. Like I said, have a schedule, have something that you look at it on a regular basis. The second of the month, I'm going to always look at my financial records and make sure everything's okay. Or maybe I look at it on Saturday or Sunday, just to make sure that everything's okay. Things happen. So letter C here, your IRS tax records and how long to keep them. You have to hold on to those. I highly recommend it, and so does the IRS. So, period of limitations that apply to income tax returns. And this is straight from the IRS website. Depends on the action, expense, event. There's a lot of things that kind of depend on it. But there is a period of limitations which the IRS can assess additional taxes. So just because 2019 is over, they can still come back to me and say, hey, we need to see your records, and we're going to perform what's called an audit, where they're going to look at all your records. So you don't want to be standing there, well, I don't have anything. The IRS doesn't care. Okay, so you have to be able to keep your records. So we look here at period of limitations that apply to income tax. So keep records for 3 years, and it says F situations 4, 5, and 6 below do not apply to you. And we'll get to 4, 5, and 6 here in a minute. Number 2, keep records for 3 years from the date you filed your original return or 2 years from the date you pay the tax, whichever is later. If you file a claim for credit or refund after you file your return. So hold on to your documents. Keep records for 7 years if you file a claim for a loss from worthless securities or bad debt deduction. Hopefully that's none of you guys. But if you do, you have to hold it for 7. So if 4, 5, and 6 do not apply to you. So number 4, keep records for 6 years if you do not report income that you should report. It happens sometimes. And it is more than 25% of the gross income shown on your return. That one you can definitely get you in trouble. Number five, keep records indefinitely if you do not file a return. Most definitely, because they're going to want to know why you didn't file a return. Keep records indefinitely if you file a fraudulent return. Yeah, because they can come back to you on that. I believe there is no statute of limitations on that one. Keep employment tax records for at least 4 years after the date that the tax becomes due or is paid, whichever is later. So the main thing is hold on to your tax documents. All right, don't just throw them away. You do have to keep those. Just FYI and semi irrelevant, I have been audited before. When I lived in New York, I filled out my taxes, and the state of New York came back to me, and this was probably 2 or 3 years after the fact, and telling me that I owed them like $4,000. When in reality, I found all my documents, I sent them to them and proved it, and they basically said, okay, you're right. You don't owe us anything. So you don't want to get in a situation where you have to pay a lot of money and you know you don't have to. So that's where you have to maintain your financial records. And you can't just turn it on a piece of paper. It's got to be the legitimate, real thing. So maintain your tax records. Okay. Letter D, maintaining financial records. If you make an investment, if you're involved in a mutual fund or a stock or a bond or something like that, you want to make sure you have all those records where you know where they are. Okay, hopefully in a safe place. Maybe you have a file box that you keep everything in, or maybe you have a lock box which you keep stuff in. But you want to keep track of that to know what's going on. Letter E, if you purchase a major asset, you're going to want to maintain those financial records so you know what's going on. If you purchase a new car, make sure you keep up with the bank to make sure you're paying it on time. Make sure you have all the records about what your warranty is and how your warranty works. Same thing for a boat and same thing for a house. As you purchase these items, these are big ticket items you're going to purchase. You want to make sure that you're paying what you're supposed to be paying and not more. Continue with letter two, financial records. If, as you grow older, you're going to have insurance under your own name for health insurance. And I'll change that because that could be health insurance. And I guess it could be car insurance if you get into an accident or something happens. But when you start using your insurance and going to the doctor, health insurance is going to start saying, well, you owe this and you owe that. So you want to maintain all those records so that you're not getting charged for something that you may have already paid for. And to make sure you are paying so you don't go into debt or go to collections. So we have health insurance claims, car insurance claims, your medical records. The doctor does a good job of maintaining those. So if you have those, keep them around, keep them handy. I have documentation for where I had my skin cancer. I hold on to that just in case because I paid for it, and I want to make sure that I don't get in a situation where they say I owe the money and I don't. The one that you guys are probably going to hit the most as far as maintaining financial records is when you get in college, maintaining your records for your student loans, how much you're taking out, what the interest rate is going to be when that starts, and then how your payments are going to start, how much your payments are, all those kind of things. Keep that stuff around. Don't just take those letters and throw them away, and don't let them end up someplace where you're going to lose them. Okay, this is important stuff. That's part of being a grown up and a big kid is you got to start taking care of some of these financial things and maintaining some of those documents and those records. So do a good job of keeping up with your paperwork. It can get bogged down. You can get a little behind, but keep your head up and keep going through it because you don't want to get in a situation where you're having to pay money and you've already done it or you shouldn't be. Okay. So keep those records around so you know what's going on.